Hello and welcome back to Up Past Bedtime. I'm Bella Messina and I'm going to be staying up late with you tonight with a beautiful guest. We have Miss Rachel Witteman. I almost said Loftus, which is not good considering this episode we are going to be talking about divorce, separation and single mum life. This has come about because Rach put up some TikToks talking about just being a single mum. She gets lots of comments like, when are you going to go on a podcast? When are you going to talk on a podcast? And in that comment section this morning, I was like, well, when are you free? Because everyone was tagging Up Past Bedtime.
Yeah.
That same night, here we are.
I know. I was bored in a meeting at work, so I was like, Bella, let's do it.
Yeah. I was like, what are you doing Thursday or Friday? She's like, what about tonight? I was like, sure. If you're down, I'm down.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Welcome to Up Past Bedtime with me, Bella Messina, your go-to girl for those late-night unfiltered conversations. You know, the ones you have with your closest girlfriends? No topic is off limits here. I'll either be hosting chats with some incredible women or sharing my own real stories as a 20-something mother of two. UPB is for us to feel seen, heard, and understood. So let's stay up late and talk about all the things that matter. After all, the best conversations happen when you're up past bedtime. Do you want to introduce yourself? You want to tell about yourself?
Yep. I don't know what to say. I'm Rach Witteman. I feel like a lot of my content lately has been about like single mum life. I've been a single mum for what, almost
2 years.
2 years.
18 months.
It was my 2-year wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the day before.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been a single mum for about 18 months to 2 years. But I feel like just now I'm starting to put out that content.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Bella and I have been friends for years now, actually, which is crazy.
The law on Rach is though, we met because Rach was doing as well stay-at-home mum content.
Yeah. It turns out we didn't know at the time, but we literally lived like 5 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
And we were both just stay-at-home mums.
Yeah.
Doing our thing.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, a lot of my new followers probably don't know that because I work 6 days a week now. Like a corporate type role. But no, I was very much so in my stay-at-home mum era.
Well, today's episode we're going to be going all into, I guess a lot of people have some questions about your separation because I think people are a bit shocked. I don't know how much Rach wants to share on that. We haven't really debriefed, but I'll let you have your little moment. And then I put up a question box on our stories of people to ask, like, I'm very new to the single mum life, so I don't know how much I can say about it, but I did put it up there to ask us questions and we can answer whatever you guys kind of submitted or what Rach is feeling brave enough to answer.
Whatever I won't get sued for.
You're not going to get sued. There's nothing that bad. But yeah, I'm excited. I think this will be a fun episode. Like I said, lots of people have been asking for it.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know, we can just jump straight into it.
I think so. I think
Rip
from
the Band-Aid off.
Questions. Yeah, I think from the questions, naturally you guys will
Fine.
probably find out what
Do
you
you
want to find out.
Do you want to do like
Like,
any type of law drop before we get into questions? I can do a law drop for you if you're not sure exactly. No, as in like, so Rach is 24, 25.
26.
What the heck?
You were,
2 years off. Maybe when I met you were 24.
Yeah.
I just permanently think you're like 24, 25 in my head.
Just a baby.
Yeah, you are just a baby. And we met, like I said, through TikTok. We were both doing sort of stay-at-home mum content. You have one son, August.
Yes.
Who's 3 in March.
3 in March. Yep.
I'm a great friend because I know all these details.
Our birthdays are 1 day apart, so it's really not too hard to remember.
Yeah.
I guess that's a kind of background. So pretty much I was stay-at-home mum, had my son and got married before my frontal lobe was developed.
You met your ex-partner, had a baby and got married very quickly.
All within 2 years.
Which is very quick.
It was very turbulent.
Yes. And a bit of law is he was your boss as well.
But.
What are we butting?
But, no. We started seeing each other before he was my boss.
Okay.
So it wasn't like
he met you
was
at
my
work.
boss. And
Right.
then, no. We were like friends first, started seeing each other.
And
Both
then you
worked
started
in the
working.
industry.
Yes.
And then decided to work together. And I think that's where a lot of people get mixed up. It wasn't me just being like, oh, my boss.
Right.
But anyway, yes, we had a son.
Yes.
And then my son, I guess that's like my content. A lot of my content was my son was born with like this birth condition, and that's what I like posted about, raising awareness for that. And that's kind of where I got quite a few followers from.
Yes.
And then we've just transitioned into the single mum
life.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, and Rachel was a stay-at-home mum. She is now back working 6 days a week in real estate.
I went from like the Friday being stay-at-home mum to like the Monday,
Back
6 days a week. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You did do a very quick change.
Yeah.
And then, you've been single and dating and doing the single mum life and doing all the things for like the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Which has been really interesting from the sideline to kind of like see that experience, because obviously when you started that journey, I was like very much married.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to be married forever. So it's been interesting to watch you go through that and then be like, oh, my turn.
This is what's ahead of me.
Yeah.
I still remember when I was freshly separated, you bringing like a big tray of like cheese platter stuff
Oh, yeah.
to my apartment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did lots of stuff. I sent you lots of stuff. We
Yeah.
hung out a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a great friend, okay? All right. Well, if you want to just go straight into questions, we can kind of do that.
Yeah.
And then it might be easier and it feels less intimidating for you. There's like,
Oh my goodness. And I have questions too, but we'll go through those first
okay,
and then
there
I'm
are
sure there'll be
so
a lot of the
many
same.
questions.
We haven't really discussed anything being off limits either. Oh, just actually before, so people I guess aren't like tuning in thinking that I'm just going to start talking mad shit about the father of my son. I just want to make very clear that that is not what this is going to be.
Yeah, but I feel like they should expect that because I've not done that with Adrian either. I think this is just talking about us. Like I think people, obviously they always want the tea and they want the drama, but like I think people forget like we have actual kids.
But like this
And
is
you
our
have
lives.
to, that's what I mean. And you have to co-parent with this person for literally ever.
Yeah.
So I think people are like, I don't know. I know some people will go on and do a tell-all, but it's usually when the dad is like not involved in the child's life. But you and I both have co-parents that are very, very involved in our children's lives, and so we see them very regularly. We have to do a lot of co-parenting with them. So it's like I'm not going to stuff that relationship up for like one podcast. Absolutely not, dollies.
But I guess like the main, like everyone just being like, what happened? I feel like that is not probably a straightforward answer per se. I guess the best way I can go about describing what actually happened is, I'm trying to think. People are like, what's the canon event?
Yeah.
And I just feel like Bella was with me like through it all, like as it was happening. And I was like, oh, I don't know what to do here or whatnot. And I feel like there were a few different kind of events.
Yeah. I feel it
And-
was a combination of little things that added up to a big thing.
Yeah, I think so. And it just like, you know, and I know that we were both on the same page with that.
Yeah.
And it was just
Not working.
not working at the end of the day. And, you know,
Yeah.
someone had to make a call and it was what it was. And it sucks because lost my best friend in the process. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I had too much self-respect to
Yeah.
stay in that.
Well, that's a good one. Someone said, how do you know when it was over? I love my husband, but not in love. Feel like we stay for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you decide it was the right decision to split? Currently struggling. How did you know it was the time to call it quits? Like lots of people just saying like, how did you know that you'd hit the point that you're like, oh, this isn't working anymore?
So many people are in like my message requests and ask me that. And it's like, I feel like if you're looking for a sign, that's your sign. And I feel like I even Googled it and was like, how to know? And like some like Wikipedia thing that was like 5 signs. And the first one was like, you Googled the question,
Yeah.
sis. Like if you're contemplating it, I don't know. I feel like that kind of, but I remember I got to the point where like I was asking the universe for signs and like, I think I've definitely told you this before. Like a few people were like, weren't you trying for a baby like weeks before you guys separated? Which we were. And I ended up having an ectopic pregnancy. When I was in that pregnancy, I was like to the universe, I was like, if something happens with this pregnancy, then that is my sign.
That this is not for me.
And then when I found out that it was ectopic and how that whole situation was handled, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more clear.
Yeah. And I guess that's the difference between you and I is like yours was like more of a slow sort of thing and like realizing you guys had grown apart and all of that type of stuff. Whereas like I didn't really have that. Like mine was very sudden and it was like the result of a circumstance.
Yeah.
Whereas like, yeah, yours was more slow and more like falling out of being in a relationship. I guess it would be the same as like if you didn't have kids and you weren't married, like when you're with a boyfriend and then you just start being like, I don't think this is the same. But I feel like when you're in a marriage, you would stay in it longer because it's so much more complicated.
And
because
when you've got children as well. But I know
Yes.
that person before said, they love, but they're not in love. And I feel like with you and I, what we share is, we both loved and we're in love with our partners. Like that was never the case, I feel like, for either of us. We're never sitting there being like, oh, I don't love this person.
Yeah. But mine has been the other way of being like, okay, how do I manage those feelings when I know like that's not the right place for me to be right now?
Yeah.
Which is really, really a challenging thing to go through and comprehend. Someone said, how did you cope living alone?
So
Being a fresh mum, because how old was August when you guys separated?
he was just over 1.
Yeah. So like you were still really going through like.
He wasn't sleeping through the night. Like
That's what I mean. Like you were still going through like the trenches of postpartum really and then doing that as well. So it would have been a big adjustment. I guess that's where we're different because so Ash, your roommate / best friend, doesn't have kids, is not in a relationship. So she's a single galley. So it works really well for you guys. And she doesn't mind August being there at all, I don't think.
No, they're 3 nights 1 week, 4 nights the next. It's,
Yeah. Whereas like I'm the opposite. I don't think I could live with anyone else now. Like I think like unless it was a partner, like I wouldn't be able to do a roommate. I enjoy like the aloneness. Like I enjoy having like time where it's like I'm by myself and I'm in my own house and I can do whatever I want and I don't have to like, I don't know, have anyone there.
And I feel like you can appreciate the season as well because I know for me and for you as well, like we know we're not going to be single forever. Like
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully not. So I'm like, you know what? Just trying to like enjoy it because I'm like, this is right now, but it's not forever.
Ever. Yes, exactly. Oh, someone said, what's been your biggest accomplishment since becoming a single mom?
I think, how do I word this right, I guess? One of my biggest accomplishments, I think, has been my career, like building my career in real estate. A lot of it was around building my ex's business and, how to further him in his career. So when we split up, I got to go, okay, what do I actually want to do and where do I want to be with my career?
Yeah.
And like just to be able to earn what I am and get myself to the point that I'm at. And, I think one of the other questions was like, how do you handle finances or whatnot? Like we each just do our own thing. So I think that's been one of my biggest accomplishments is being able to give August the life that I want to give him, like on my own.
Well, it is a big accomplishment because like you were a stay-at-home mum. Like you weren't making an income. You were a stay-at-home mum, like completely financially dependent on your ex.
Mm-hmm.
So that is huge to go from that to then like going back into the workforce, building a career, being self-sufficient.
Yep.
There's a lot of questions around finances. Do you want to talk finances or not?
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what they ask.
Like lots of people saying like, what happened with your house? What's happening with child support? Have you guys officially divorced?
I am obviously I want to be respectful and only share what, like we sold the house.
Yes.
That's a fact. Like you can go on realestate.com. We sold the house.
Yes. And you guys like obviously share August 50-50.
Yeah.
So.
We have August 50-50. And we just, pay for our own things. I feel like he won't have a problem with me saying that. Like, we just pay.
No.
We pay for our own things. Neither one of us is financially dependent upon the other person.
Yeah. Someone said, is single mum life really as glamorous as you make it look?
Oh my God, he thinks I make it look glamorous.
I don't think it looks glamorous, but.
I know. Someone that was hating on me commented on somewhere and it was like saying that I make my life look perfect on God forbid my life not look perfect on social media. And I'm like, guys, I literally like shared about how I had like a miscarriage, a child who couldn't shit and had a colostomy bag and then had an ectopic pregnancy and then my marriage breakdown after being married for a matter of months on the internet. I'm like, what part of that am I trying to put out that I have a perfect life?
Exactly. I guess because you're not like, you seem happy and not like falling apart that they probably think like, oh, she tries to make it look. But I feel like you are a genuinely like happy person. Like obviously I think anyone can like comprehend this. Like a marriage breakdown is not a fun time and it's a lot of emotions. It's very confusing. It's very hurtful, especially when you have children involved.
Yeah.
especially when there is like you're at the stage where like your partner has another partner, which is obviously as well like a very complicated thing to go through. I've not like had to experience that. So there's lots that go on. So I don't think it's like you're sitting there being like, oh, this is the funnest time ever. My life is so beautiful and glamorous, because it's really not. Like when you're a single parent, it's not glamorous whatsoever. Like you're doing everything by yourself. I was just saying to Rach off mic that I had a conversation with someone today being like, if you try and talk to me on like a Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday, you're probably going to catch me in a bad mood, because I've got the girls 100% by myself. I don't have support. I don't have an extra set of hands. Mm-hmm. I am working full time as well on top of that. Like it's a stressful time. Like I feel like if you're catching us and you're thinking it's looking glamorous, you're catching us on a kid-free day, because when you're doing the kids by yourself, you're not having a glamorous time.
Well, someone the other day was like, oh, how do you manage to look so like put together when you've got a toddler? And I'm like, what you don't see is like me trying to get ready for work in the morning, and obviously I have like a corporate role, so like I need to, hair and makeup.
I was about to say, how do you look so together? Because I need to make an income and it's my job.
Correct. Like, I can't be showing up to work disheveled. But like what you don't see is I'm in like a 2-story place, so my bathroom's upstairs and August is downstairs having like breakfast or on his iPad. He eats up and goes for breakfast, so don't worry, no risk of choking. But it's literally me every 2 minutes yelling over the stairs, you okay? Goes, all good. Like literally probably like 20 times in the space of me getting ready, because I'm like, what else am I meant to do, Like, and when he's silent for too long, I'm like, he's drawing on the walls. Like, like it's the risk you got to take.
Yeah, I guess. Someone said, single mum here, how do you not be lonely a year later and still struggling being alone?
Get yourself a roster.
Rachel, you can't say that, Dolly. I was going to give like some actual like, well, this is what I've been trying to do. Like get a whole list of people to keep you company. Oh, God. That's staying in. I would say you, even 18 months, you still have periods of feeling lonely.
I thought you were going to say you still have periods. And I was like, nah, I lost those due to stress.
I thought we got those back.
Go on again. Anyway, I get lonely all the time, and I lean into it now.
Yeah, same.
Because
me saying that as if I haven't only been separated like 4 or 5 months. I'm like, yeah, me too.
No, it's still so valid though. Like I feel like especially in those early days when you're used to having company, and I know that like for me, I've kind of tried to find comfort in the loneliness and enjoy my own company. So like I'll take myself on a nice walk. I listen to sad music because, I'm just like, I'm not a very emotional person. So when I feel those emotions, I'm like, you know what, let's just be sad for a minute. And then it's just like for me as well, setting up boundaries so I don't get comfortable with, might be wildly unhealthy. Hopefully no psychologists are watching this, but like setting up boundaries so I don't get comfortable, so then I don't feel uncomfortable again when I'm lonely. You know what I mean? Like not relying on other people for my comfort.
Right.
So I know like a rule for myself is like with guys or whatnot, I typically don't do sleepovers because I don't want to have that comfort that isn't consistent.
Yeah.
So I feel like, because then you feel lonely when, if you sleep over with someone 2 nights a week and then the rest of the night they're not there. So I just kind of lean into it and go, yep, this is where I'm at, and be comfortable
being where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say like one thing that I'm really trying hard to learn is like there's nothing wrong with negative emotions. So there's nothing wrong with being lonely. There's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong with being sad. It is the human experience. Yep. And that has been something that's really hard because I am someone who suppresses negative emotions. I've always done that. I have now learned that's very common in people who are autistic, but obviously I didn't know that till recently. So one thing I've really been trying to do is like just accept that you feel shitty and you feel lonely, and that's okay. You don't have to pretend like you feel otherwise. Mm-hmm. You don't have to explain it away or suppress it down. You can just be. And I think you can be lonely 1 year after separation, 5 years after separation, 10 years after separation. To be honest, you can be lonely and be in a relationship.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I would say it's worse when you feel lonely in a relationship, because I feel like that is the most isolating feeling, because you then have all the guilt that comes along with it, because you're like, I shouldn't be feeling lonely. I've got someone lying in this bed next to me.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets, or do you regret getting married?
No, I don't. I am a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And, I gave my son, and I do strongly believe this, I gave my son, the best father. He's a fantastic dad. So I don't have any regrets in that regard. I mean, maybe spending a little less money on a wedding.
Someone said, how do you comprehend the lost money on the wedding?
Like 60 grand or something. Yeah. I won't do that again.
Do you think you'd ever get married again?
I do. Maybe like eloping in Italy or something would be nice. I do see myself getting married again, absolutely. But like I'll be real sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real sure.
Real sure.
Real sure.
I think like that's a really, like lots of people say like, do you regret this to me? But I'm like, I don't have any regrets because I would, if it was, how do I word this? How do I word this?
Think like a politician.
Yeah. I would still be married. If life went the way that I wanted it to.
Yep.
And if I could have all my dreams and wishes, I would still be married. So I don't have any regrets because I made all those decisions and would still make those same decisions again. Every decision that I have made, I was very committed to them. And so, no, I don't have any regrets. I think as well when you have kids, you can't regret because then you wouldn't have your kids. And like when you're a mum, like, when like our kids are our lives, and like I couldn't want to take anything back because of that. But also like I always say this to people, like I got married because I wanted to be married. I had kids because I wanted to be a mum. Like I don't regret any of those choices because they were what I wanted. And honestly, like I say this to people all the time, like I don't want to be a single mum. I hate it. Like I wish that I could still be married.
I remember Bella a weekend. I hate it here.
literally a weekend I messaged Rach and I was like, this is the fucking worst. I hate it here. Like I've never wanted to be single. I didn't want to live in a separated home. None of those things. So no, I don't have any regrets because if everything was down to like my choice and the best circumstance, like I would still be living the life that I had committed to and planned out. So yeah, no regrets for me. Someone says, does it feel strange when your ex has another partner but you're not officially divorced yet? You're not?
Oh, how do they know this? Interesting. Is it someone I know? Can I see?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I would say I didn't really have time to not be comfortable with it. I guess that's the best way I can go about it. It kind of was always the case.
Yes.
So I only know single motherhood as being a single mum and having to co-parent with another female in the picture as well. So I guess it wasn't really something I had to comprehend.
But it's like she wasn't as involved initially, right?
I haven't asked,
okay,
really. But
now I would say much more involved now because they like live together, whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, that's been hard because you've been single the whole time. So there's been no.
But I guess like there wasn't any awkward conversations because the person that is now in the picture was well aware of how recent the separation was.
Yes.
So I guess it wasn't really awkward because they were across the whole situation.
Yes. And they weren't a stranger to you either.
Yeah.
Someone just says, dating scene is horrid, right? This is a you question.
Horrid. No, it's not so bad. My dating, honestly, like if you saw my dating recap PowerPoint presentation, that I'll show you.
Okay.
I'm still getting content together for it.
Okay.
Dating as a single mum is wild. Wild. I just don't even.
You're lucky. Yours is just one child, and also you have a public facing job. I'm terrified for the conversations. I'm going to have to be like, I have kids.
Kids, yeah. See, I'm like, I've got my son 50% of the time, and like, it doesn't really even need to be like, people can click on my Instagram or whatnot, and they can see I've got a son. Like, it's not really a topic of conversation. But I'm still convinced that like the person I'm going to end up with is someone that like I'm going to meet or have met in like natural life. Like dating.
You're on the apps, aren't you? Are you?
Not at the moment. I've definitely been on them and deleted them and been on them and whatnot. But like,
You want to meet someone organically.
Yeah, I just really struggle, and I've tried to do the dating app thing.
Do you think you're ready for like another partner? Like, would you want to be, if you met someone, would you be like, yeah, I want a boyfriend?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%. 99%.
99.
No, I think if it was the right person, I would know and I would be content with it. Definitely not any sooner than now, like 18 months. I remember at the start, I was like, I'll be fine. Like by Christmas, I'd be in another relationship. Nope.
Yeah.
And like I feel like you don't know what you don't know until you get there. So until like, I was in a situation where it's an opportunity and then I'm like, oh, actually I'm not ready for this, But
whereas like we're the opposite. I'm like, I'm going to be single forever. I never want a boyfriend. I never want this, blah, blah, blah. And when you split, you're like, it's okay. Like I'll meet someone really quick, whatever. And I'm like, ew, get the men away from me.
I know, but Bella knows I'm such a lover girl at heart,
So am I, but also I think you'd agree with this too. Like I'm just in such a season where I'm like, I need to be me.
Yeah.
You
do.
Yeah. Like
100%.
I need to like have that time and just like heal and do all of that good stuff, know? But I would like to see you with a man. I feel like it's your season to have a nice man to come and champion you a little bit.
Honestly, someone needs to.
Does anyone want a sister-in-law? Because Rach is available. We use the podcast. And
honestly.
Any Brisbane gals that have a really nice brother or brother-in-law that is looking for a beautiful galley, we have one available for you. Someone said returning to your maiden name. Rachel has, but Bella hasn't. So I'd love a discussion on this.
Ooh, this is a good thing to discuss.
Yes.
I feel like have we spoken about this?
I don't know. You reverted straight back to your maiden name.
So the reason why my change was so quickly was because I only was under my married last name for a couple of months anyway. Ideally I would love to have the same last name as my son. I hate the fact that I don't. But because me and my son's dad work in the same industry and are actually competitors, it just wasn't fair on anyone for me to be going out competing against him for business with his
the same last name. Yeah.
And I respect that. And, he didn't want that. And I was like, that's, so fair.
Yeah. On mine, people always say like, I actually have already talked about this on subbies. This was like the extra.
I subscribe. I see.
I know you do. If you didn't know this, on subscriptions, they get an extra segment of the podcast every single week. It's called Bonus Bedtime, and I talk about extra things that I didn't post to everyone.
Cool. We'll save some juicy stuff for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic.
And I talked about the changing of the last name in Bonus Bedtime last week. But pretty much I have no intentions to ever change my last name. I think I will be Messina forever unless, by some miracle I met someone else and I really desperately wanted to marry them and change my name. But I don't have any ties to my maiden name. My parents are separated, so my mum doesn't have the same last name as me. There's just nothing that makes me be like, oh, I've got to go back to the name to match all like my family or whatever, because they've all got it pretty much a different last name because my dad's an only child. So I don't have any like cousins or aunties and uncles or whatever that are my maiden name. They all have a different name, which is my mum's maiden name. So I don't really feel like I'm not part of a family if I don't go back to my maiden name. And then also like, I like matching the girls. I have my online presence. All my usernames are in Messina.
Yep.
I just like the name Messina. I like Bella Messina. I'm very used to it. It's expensive to change everything back. Like you got to get a new license. Everything has been changed into my name because I was married for like three, almost 4 years. So
you should have seen the bitch at Transport and Main Roads when I changed my last name because it was obviously like, fairly soon after changing it the first time.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, your marriage was shorter than mine. And I was like, you're lucky I'm able to laugh about this because like she could have gotten a very different reaction.
Literally.
But like props to Susan. But anyway.
God. But yeah, I have no intention to change my last name. I will be keeping it Messina. I'm happy with it being Messina. As far as I'm aware, Adrian has no problem with me keeping Messina. So yes, I have no intention of changing mine. But I think it doesn't really matter. It's just a name at the end of the day. And it's a personal choice and whatever you're comfortable with. How will you be doing Christmas morning and Santa?
Oh, okay. Touchy subject.
Oh.
That's fine.
Oh, I was like, oh no,
Nothing's ever a problem. I don't have my son Christmas morning this year. So we take turns, which is fair. So I get him from like lunchtime on Christmas. So obviously he's still like, he understands the Santa concept, but he's still a little bit young where it's fine. So next year when he's more aware, I'll have him. So
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
Adrian and I are doing it together. So we're going to do Christmas Eve together, set up cookies, do that, whatever. And then I think the way it's going to go is he's going to go home.
Yep.
Because we live very, very close together. And then he's just going to come back very early in the morning before the girls wake up. And then we'll wake the girls up and we're going to do Christmas morning together.
Yep.
And then Christmas this year is on a Wednesday, which is our like handover day.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I was very generous and shared my Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, even though it was technically my day. But I don't want him to miss out either. And it's nice for the girls that we can do it together.
And when it's so fresh as well.
Yeah.
And while there aren't other partners involved and you can do that, then fantastic.
That's what I mean. And then, the girls are going to go with Adrian's family and do Christmas lunch with them because that's his swap over time. And then my whole family is going to be at the beach. So I'm going to drive down to the beach for the day. And that's how we're going to do it. I'm pretty depressed about it because I obviously want to spend the whole Christmas with my kids. But I'm just like, it is what it is. It's fine. It's all going to work out. They are going to be so happy. I get to do the most fun and important bit, which is the Santa bit and the first opening presents and all of that. So I can't complain too much. And I'm very grateful that we can do it together, because I know not everyone has that option. So I'm definitely not going to complain about that. Someone says, is it easier being a single mum than unhappy and married?
Easier mentally, yes, but in every other aspect, no. Like not having an extra set of hands and like taking on the financial load and just all these other things.
Yeah. Yeah, financially it's obviously a lot harder. For me, I don't know, that's a very complex question because it's not the same thing. Like I wouldn't say I was unhappy in my marriage. Like we had difficulties, but I wasn't like
everyone.
Yeah,
everyone
I don't know.
does.
So I can't really answer that one. I have enjoyed the independence of being a single mum, like not having anyone else that you have to really cross-check a lot of stuff with, being able to watch whatever I want on the TV, take up the whole bed, have the aircon set to the level that I like. Like there are some little bonuses, but I am someone that loves companionship like you. I am very extroverted. So like it's hard to be alone and doing everything alone, to do the kids alone, to have no one when they're sick, you have no one helping you, like you're doing it all. That's really hard. It's also really hard when like I don't have a family that can help me as much. So I don't have like I have my mum, but she works full time. So it's like I don't really have anyone that can come in and like help. Like on the weekend I was sick and I just had to like
soldier on.
Charge on because it's
Have you been hungover? Have you had to single parent hungover yet?
No, I haven't. I'm too scared to do that to myself because I'm such a sookie.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, I just couldn't, I don't think.
I had to get my mum. This was ages ago. This was back when August was still like an infant. I remember once I had to call my mum and I was like, can you come parent the both of us, please? I'm so sick.
I've stuffed up, Mum. I'm going through a mentally hard time and I've had a bit too much to drink and I have no husband anymore to cover me.
I literally cried in bed and asked my mum for a head rub and was like,
please, I'm so sick, Mummy.
Please parent my child.
Someone said, do you feel like you did everything you could have in your marriage?
Ooh. Do you mean like to stay married?
Yeah, to work it out.
No.
Oh.
I definitely didn't. Yeah, like, we spoke about doing marriage counselling and I declined.
Did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I definitely didn't do everything.
Do you regret that?
No, because I wouldn't have wanted the outcome to be any different to what it is.
You think the right decision was made in the end.
Yeah.
I get that. We were doing everything. Literally everything possible.
Yeah, I know.
Every therapy, couples therapy, all the things. So, no, I think I couldn't have done. I honestly don't think I could have done anything more to stop what happening. I think I bent over backwards to do everything the best that I could do it. So yeah, no, I don't have any regrets in that. There are so many people, Rach, I think you're so strong. Rach, you've inspired me, blah, blah, blah.
Stop it. Also, people saying that I inspire them, please know I am not, and Bella knows this firsthand, I'm not an advocate for like breaking up families. Like whenever any of my girlfriends come to me with like marital problems, I'm not the one to be like, fuck them. You know, like I am literally the one being like, trust me, like
It's very hard on this side.
make it work. Like you'll be fine. Just like suck it up.
No, you're not like that. But you are definitely like a lot of people are like, to me, they're like, oh, because of, did you see Rach's situation and then want to leave your husband? I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I've called Rach before after having just like a relationship fight in tears, being like, ugh. Rach is like, you can figure it out. Like if you want to figure out, like I feel like you're very supportive of like doing what's best for your relationship. So yeah, I definitely don't think.
It's not a trend.
No. Oh, and if it is, it's not a trend you want to be fucking part of. I'll tell you that much for sure. I say this to all my friends who are in beautiful, happy relationships. I want what you have.
Get me the fuck off this train.
Literally. Like I said it earlier in the episode, I still wanted to be married. I do want to be I never wanted to be single. So like it is not a fun trend, and it's, I feel like something that you only do if you have to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like no one's just doing it for funsies, or no one that's mentally well adjusted, you know? Like you're doing it because
you've been pushed to the point where that's the best option. And sometimes it is the best option.
Okay, this is a good one. Someone says, how do you move past anger, hurt, betrayal, and negative feelings towards an ex to successfully co-parent?
I feel like you just do, because you put your child first and their needs first, and everything else, you know, just comes secondary to the fact. Don't get me wrong. I still have all of the above emotions, and it is a roller coaster. Some days I'm an unbothered queenie and I pride myself, like not a lot bothers me, but I absolutely have days where I'm like angry and frustrated, and, you know, I pop off a little more than I should have it, but then it's always back to being like, okay, you know what? Let's be amicable.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me like, how are you and Adrian like so freshly separated and still like hanging out or doing, we're not hanging out. Like we don't hang out for fun. Like
just go to the movies together.
No, like as in like with the girls, like doing joint stuff together. And I honestly say to a lot of people, emotional suppression.
Yeah, you shove that shit down.
Literally, you just have to
catch up with you.
Yes, but I mean like you just sometimes have to pick your battles and just realize like it's not worth it. Like one thing I always tell myself is like Adrian and I are going to be family. And we are going to be in relationship with each other forever. We have children together. There is no choice. Like, and like even say my parents who have the most toxic, fucked up divorce, they hate each other's guts. They won't be in the same room together, whatever. All their kids are adults. They are still in relationship with each other because they have joint kids together and they have joint grandkids together.
That's what I was going to say. The whole other thing is like being grandparents together, like especially having daughters, like when they give birth, you're going to want to be there. And so is Adrian.
Yep. So I just always think like, okay, we're going to be together in a parenting aspect forever. Pick your battles, because is this something that in 40 years' time, like you're still going to want to die on the hill of? And if the answer to that is no, then I'm just like, is it worth the fight, or can we just put it aside for the greater good of everyone? I think it also becomes a lot easier to do once you really realize like the relationship is done and we're not getting back together and we're not reconciling or whatever that is. It's a lot easier to like make choices and make decisions, and
when it's less emotional. Yeah, which takes time. It's like feelings have to fade.
Yeah. I think it's I don't know. The only thing I say when people are like, how do you co-parent this? How do you do that? I'm like, I literally just force myself. Just like
day by day.
Slap on a smile and just be like, you can do this for an hour or two. Like you can get along. And like, I think you're the same with your exes. Like they are really great dads. So it's easy to do the parenting stuff when it is someone who wants to be involved. Like I feel like if you have a drop kick baby daddy who doesn't want to do F all, doesn't want to do child support, doesn't want to financially contribute, doesn't want to be involved, whatever, it's a totally different story. We are very blessed that we don't have that situation, and I think we're both very grateful that
100%.
That is not the reality we're looking at. Like we both have really great fathers for our kids, which makes it a lot easier to co-parent than with someone who just is
Yeah,
deadbeat.
100%.
I think that's most of the questions. Did you have some you wanted to do?
Let's have a look here. I'm too scared.
To open them?
Well, someone actually asked, I don't know if you want me to answer this or not, but I'll mention it. Someone said, as a friend, did you see Bella's marriage ending?
Did you?
No.
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 Okay.
Well, because as we said, like, when, normal, Bella and I would always message each other when we were pissed off at our husbands, as girlfriends do, you know, and it's like, just normal stuff, so.
I think it was a shock for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I think people it was a shock for me. It was a shock for friends and family. It was a shock online. Like,
I'll never get over your
not
voice.
Not a shock. Oh, my voice when you called me.
When you called me.
Yeah.
And I just knew as soon as I couldn't recognize your voice, I was like, oh.
Uh-oh.
No.
Yeah. I think, it wasn't a shock as in like, whoa, like we'd obviously had some like marital issues, but like it wasn't prepared for, I think, by anyone. And there was no signs, I would say, for anyone.
Yep.
Well, I don't think so anyway.
No, especially like outside of looking and knowing the full situation. I don't think there was any cause for concern.
Yeah.
Someone said, what's your parenting relationship with your ex-husband's new partner? And
you guys are fine, aren't you? Or not?
Yeah, well, I just feel like that's like not even something that needs to be discussed. Like there's no relationship because like it just should be between the two parents and that's it. Like,
yes.
Because whoever, we'll just change the script around, I guess. Whoever I introduce into my son's life, I don't expect them to have a parenting relationship with my son's father. Like that's just something completely separate.
Yeah, I guess unless they got like married and then was like very, very involved. But yeah, but I would say there's no beef.
Animosity.
Yeah.
No. Someone asked like, was it hard getting comfortable with your son around someone you don't know?
You didn't have that problem.
I didn't. I was blessed. I actually do take it as a blessing that I didn't have to learn to trust someone that was a stranger to me.
Yeah.
To have such a prominent space in my child's life.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I knew their character on a friendship level prior to them entering my son's life as any kind of parental figure.
Yes.
So, # blessed.
Blessed.
Question mark.
It is, that is something that like.
Well, I'm sure for you, like, how do you feel about the thought of someone?
Terrified. What if they're not a nice person? What if they're, like, I don't know them from a bar of soap? Like that, I have to just trust that, like, they make the right choice and they choose, like, a really good partner and, like, I guess vice versa.
Yeah.
But no, like, that makes me absolutely so terrified and so uncomfortable. And, I mean, it's inevitable. Like, you can't say, like, you're not allowed to have a life and you've got to stay, like, single, celibate, whatever.
And they're going to be around the girls because you have them 50-50. Like,
that's what I mean. That's, you and I have had this discussion. Like, the downside of 50-50 is, like, if they get another partner, that person has the exact same amount of time with your child as you do, which feels not right.
There's nothing, like, as a mother, like a literal biological mother, knowing that there is, like, another female that spends just as much time with your child as you do, it's unnatural.
Yeah, it doesn't feel comfortable.
It's unnatural.
That's like one thing I think about that I'm like, that makes me feel physically ill.
And
like
it's no one's fault. Like no one's doing the wrong thing. It's a reality of the situation.
Yeah, and it's hard because it's like you want your child to have the relationship with both people equally and whatever, but it's just like that is like the biggest downfall of it is like, ugh.
But I think like, I know at least for me, I'm like, it will be reciprocated eventually one day. So it's like.
Yeah, it just sucks when it's like you are.
But I kind of feel, don't know if this is sexist of me or not, but like I kind of feel worse being the dads in the situation because like having random men introduced, I feel like would be more stressful.
You reckon?
You know? Like just because they're not, I guess, naturally maternal. Like for females, you can be like, oh, they're a bit more naturally maternal where it's like, oh, some bloke.
Yeah.
They don't know from a bar of soap around my daughters, your daughters, for example.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I've said this so many times. It's not something that I have to worry about right now, so I'm not worrying about it. And that's just like the thing that I've got to hold strong on because I think I will get depressed if I get too far into that line of sight.
Yeah.
I think we've answered a lot of questions.
And I feel like we,
Talked about a lot.
yeah, like,
I think so. I feel like everyone's like, the hard thing is like, what's it like being a single mum, or like, what's the tips of this? But it's like every situation is so unique.
Yeah.
Like there's no like copy paste of like, you have to do it this way and this is the best decision. It's so dependent on like your own life. And it's the same as dating. Like you can't copy paste a marriage, and you can't copy paste like anything. It's like such a unique experience. So
and it changes anyway. Like if you would have asked me 6 or 12 months ago what it was like being a single mum, I would have had very different answers to
I'm
now.
sure I'll listen back to this and laugh. I think like even this morning, like I was talking to my mum about like custody, and then my mum was like, well, you try and think of a schedule that would last the longest amount of time. I was like, there's no way I could make like a custody agreement that like fits an 18-month-old and would also work for a 16-year-old. Like it's just not possible. Like it's going to have to change if we are still separated for that long of amount of time. Like it will naturally just have to change. Like there's nothing I can do about that. Like, and I think that is, life, and that's the journey. Like we have both separated from our partners like with such young kids that they are going to be spending their whole life with split parents, which is depressing when you say that out loud. But it means
they won't know any different.
Yes, which means you have to be fluid and you have to just like, go with the flow. Like there's no advice you can give that's like a fix all or cover all. Like it's so dependent on person to person.
Yeah, you get real good at being adaptable.
Yeah. I feel like people would be happy now because you've been pestered for like 12 months to talk more about this topic. So I'm like, I feel like you couldn't have talked about it anymore.
Literally. And anything juicier, I guess we'll save for, what is it? The
bonus bedtime?
Bonus bedtime.
I've got an idea of what I want to do for bonus bedtime.
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, I think, do you want to do a recommendation of the week? Do you have a recommendation? I usually do them on my solo eps where you can recommend something that you – have you ever listened to one of my episodes?
I have. I listened to them while I'm on the treadmill at the gym, but I don't know if I make it all the way through to this part.
Excuse you. Do you want to do a recommendation? Do you have something to recommend? It can be a product. It can be an experience. It could be literally anything.
A recommendation? Mm-hmm. Can you go first?
Okay. My recommendation is I opened up a new bank account to put my savings in that is not in my like main bank of choice.
Yeah, I did the same.
And it's been really great, and I've really enjoyed that because it means that like it's out of sight, out of mind, and it's been helping me a lot with budgeting and savings.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation of the week. If you are really trying to stick to a budget and you're really trying to save, moving your saving monies out of the app that you are constantly looking at. Like I didn't even download the like smartphone banking app for that bank of choice because I was like, I don't want to look at it and I don't want to try and access it. And if I need to access it, I want to have to like get my computer up and like it be a whole process.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed that. I have had a lot of people asking about like financial tips after being a single mom, but I'm like, I can't give you any at the moment. I'm still learning and living.
Yeah.
But that has been something I've been trying and I've really loved it. And I feel like you could use that even if you weren't a single mom. If you're just someone who really wants to like put a boundary in and save, I would recommend.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
What do I recommend? I literally, what do I recommend? Not taking any advice from me. Anything I just yapped about for the last hour.
What about your breakfast, your oats?
My oats.
Your baked oats? You're a big gal on that at the moment.
What's my I guess, if I could recommend something to anyone, especially single mums, get your eyebrows laminated. Like I just get
how great is eyebrow lamination?
So good because it saves me the most amount of time in the morning. I feel like that's what takes me the longest, like especially towards the end. I get mine done like every 3 to 4 weeks. But
same.
Towards the end when they need to get done longer. And I'm like, well, I'm blonde, so like they're transparent otherwise, right? So like when I'm like having to like fill them in and draw them on, it takes so much time in the morning and it can get me so frustrated when like August is yelling at me and my eyebrows aren't lining up.
My eyebrows aren't!
So like my biggest recommendation would be get your eyebrows laminated because it saves you so much time.
What is it? The high maintenance, low maintenance look.
Yeah, that is like me.
That's what everyone like says to like sort of do. So you do the like big appointments that makes your like every day faster.
Yeah.
Which I would like also recommend. I get my eyebrows done, I get my hair done, I get a spray tan. I do all the fun. I do my nails.
Yeah.
But I've always been that type of galley. But I love getting my eyebrows done.
Oh, so good.
So good. I need to I keep thinking I need to make my appointments a little bit closer because when it gets to the end, they get a little bit.
My eyebrow lady, I literally just will message her, harass her, I'll text her and I'll be like, Bella, I need you to fit, her name's Bella, I need you to fit me in tomorrow. I'll be like, I've got a date. I need to see you immediately. The poor thing. So
does she usually make it work?
She always makes it work.
Oh, what a queenie.
Best. I know, what a queenie. Sorry, Bella. I stuff her around with appointments so much. Never let me book in with your business. I'm the worst.
Rachel, you are actually the worst with that type of stuff. I will give that to you.
At least I'm self-aware.
Yes. Yes, queen. All right, well, that's us. I'm so happy that I got you on, even though it was so last minute. Hopefully you'll come back. Maybe if people want more questions answered, you can come back. But for now, I'm going to love you and I'm going to leave you. Sweet dreams.
Good night.